In a world not too far from our imagination, there existed a place untouched by time, Neverland, where dreams refused to grow old, where fairies shimmered in moonlight, and where one boy, forever young, soared through the skies with a laugh that echoed against the stars. But before we reach that magical island, let us begin where it all started, in London, on a quiet, lamplit street, inside a cozy nursery belonging to Wendy Darling and her two brothers, John and Michael. Their nights were filled with tales of pirates, mermaids, and faraway adventures told by Wendy's gentle voice before they drifted off to sleep. Yet, little did they know, those stories would soon become their reality. Hook alert! Before the story begins, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, at English Fairy Tales, and click the bell icon, because today's story, Peter Pan, is more than a tale, it's a journey to a land where believing is the greatest magic of all. So sit back, relax, and let's fly to Neverland together. It was a chilly London night when a soft rustle echoed through the nursery window. Tinker Bell, a tiny, glowing fairy, darted inside, her wings leaving trails of golden dust in the air. She fluttered around curiously, exploring Wendy's sewing kit and Michael's toy sword, until a faint shadow slipped across the moonlit curtain. Peter Pan appeared, the boy who never grew up, wearing a green tunic, his eyes sparkling with mischief and freedom. He was searching for his shadow, which had escaped during a previous visit. When Wendy awoke and saw him, she gasped softly, unsure if she was dreaming. Peter grinned, whispering, "Hello, do you believe in fairies?" Wendy nodded in wonder, and Peter introduced her to Tinker Bell, who glowed proudly but eyed Wendy with jealousy. As Wendy helped Peter sew his shadow back on, he told her about Neverland, a place full of adventure, pirates, lost boys, and dreams that never end. Wendy's eyes filled with longing. She had always wanted a life beyond her windowpane. When Peter offered, "You can come with me, I'll teach you to fly," her heart leapt. Moments later, as Tinker Bell sprinkled fairy dust over the three darling children, Peter whispered, "Think happy thoughts, and up you go." With laughter and wonder, Wendy, John, and Michael lifted into the night sky, flying over London's rooftops, past Big Ben, and straight toward the stars. The flight to Neverland was breathtaking. Clouds sparkled with moonlight, and shooting stars danced beside them. Wendy held Peter's hand as he led the way, while John and Michael trailed behind, chasing Tinker Bell's golden glow. When they finally descended through the silver mist, Neverland unfolded beneath them, an island of eternal youth, where jungles whispered secrets, waterfalls shimmered like diamonds, and distant drums echoed the presence of the lost boys. But peace in Neverland was fragile, for lurking in the shadows of Skull Rock was the fearsome pirate, Captain Hook. Elegant yet cruel, Hook's black coat and feathered hat gave him the air of a dark prince, but his soul was filled with revenge. Ever since Peter had cut off his hand and fed it to a crocodile, the creature followed him everywhere, ticking ominously, a reminder that time was always chasing him. Even in a land where time stood still, Hook's eyes burned with hatred as he said to his crew, "That boy will pay. I'll make sure the crocodile hears his laughter no more." Meanwhile, Peter brought Wendy and her brothers to his secret hideout, the underground home of the Lost Boys. The boys cheered at the sight of Peter, their brave and mischievous leader, and welcomed Wendy like a queen. They begged her to tell stories, and soon, under the glow of fireflies, Wendy became their mother, caring for them, mending clothes, and telling tales of London and love. Peter would sit close by, pretending not to care, yet his eyes softened whenever Wendy spoke of growing up, a concept he both feared and could never understand. He wanted her to stay forever, to laugh, to fight pirates, to never leave. Yet, deep inside, Wendy began to realize that Neverland, while magical, was not real life. It was a dream that could not last forever. As days turned into endless adventures, Peter and the Lost Boys battled Hook's pirates across the island. There were daring escapes through Mermaid Lagoon, playful duels on pirate ships, and moonlit dances with fairies. Tinker Bell, jealous of Wendy's closeness to Peter, one day played a dangerous trick. When Wendy praised Peter too fondly, Tink whispered lies to the Lost Boys, claiming Wendy was a spy for Hook. In their confusion, the boys shot arrows at her, and Wendy fell, motionless. Peter rushed to her side, his heart breaking, until he realized she was only stunned. Turning to Tinker Bell, his voice trembled. "You could have killed her." Tink wept in shame, and Peter, though angry, forgave her, showing the depth of his kindness. Wendy, upon awakening, smiled weakly, saying, "I knew you'd save me." That night, as they sat together under the stars, Peter told Wendy the one thing he feared most: "I don't ever want to grow up." Wendy touched his hand gently and whispered, "But growing up isn't the end of magic. Peter, it's just a new kind of adventure. Far away, Captain Hook devised his cruelest plan yet. He captured Tiger Lily, the brave princess of the island's native tribe, and tied her to a rock as the tide rose. Hook demanded she reveal Peter's hideout, but she refused. Just as the water reached her feet, Peter swooped in, imitating Hook's voice to trick the pirates and rescue her. Furious, Hook vowed revenge. Soon after, he discovered the entrance to the Lost Boys' home and kidnapped everyone: Wendy, John, Michael, and the Lost Boys, leaving only Tinker Bell behind. Hook tricked Tink into believing Peter had forgotten her and trapped her in a lantern, but when she overheard his true plan, to blow up Peter's home with a bomb, she fought free and raced against time. Exhausted, she reached Peter just in time to knock the bomb away. The explosion lit up the sky like a storm of stars, and Peter realized, with tears in his eyes, how deeply Tinker Bell loved him. "You're my best friend, Tink," he whispered, and she glowed faintly in response. Peter flew to Hook's ship to rescue his friends. The Jolly Roger loomed under the blood-red sunset, its sails black and tattered. Hook paced the deck, sword in hand, taunting Wendy. "So, Miss Darling," he sneered, "will you be our mother now?" But Wendy, her eyes blazing with courage, replied, "I already have a family, and you'll never have our hearts." Just as Hook raised his hook, Peter's voice rang out, "I'm here, Hook." What followed was a battle of blades and wits. Peter, swift and laughing; Hook, dark and ruthless. Swords clashed under lightning flashes. "You're finished, Pan," Hook shouted, but Peter grinned. "Not this time, old codfish." With a final leap, he disarmed Hook, sending him tumbling into the sea, straight into the waiting jaws of the ticking crocodile. The pirates fled, and cheers erupted as Peter freed Wendy and the others. As dawn rose over Neverland, the children realized it was time to return home. Wendy looked at Peter, tears glistening in her eyes. "Will you come with us?" she asked softly, but Peter shook his head. "I'm not made for growing up," he said, gazing toward the horizon. "Neverland needs me." Wendy hugged him tightly, whispering, "You'll always have a place in my heart." Tinker Bell fluttered beside them, her glow dim but tender. With a swirl of golden dust, Peter guided them back to London, where the first rays of morning touched the rooftops. Wendy awoke in her bed, unsure if it had all been a dream, until she saw a single golden feather on her pillow. Years passed. Wendy grew older, told her own children about Peter Pan, and sometimes, on quiet nights, she'd glance at the window, wondering if he would ever return. And one night, when her daughter Jane sat by the window, a familiar shadow appeared, whispering, "Come on, let's fly." And so the story began again, reminding us that magic never truly fades as long as someone believes. And that, dear dreamers, is the story of Peter Pan, the boy who refused to grow up and the girl who taught him that love and memory are the truest magic of all. If you loved this tale, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel at English Fairy Tales for more timeless stories brought to life with heart and imagination. And remember, deep inside us all, there's still a part that can fly.